Okay. Maybe that works. I hope that works. Alright. Let's run through stats and their importance here. What? Okay, you're good. So, Vigor, we'll just go down the list. Vigor here is going to be your health. So, every point in Vigor will increase your HP by X amount. And I think that's the only thing Vigor does. Mind is going to increase your FP, which is going to be like your mana. Endurance is going to increase your stamina and your equip load. Stamina is used for rolling, running, back, stepping, attacking, and blocking. So it's very important to have some endurance. Strength is obviously going to increase how hard you hit with strength-based weapons. Dexterity is going to increase your casting speed as well as your weapon attack speed, as well as increase the damage you deal with dexterity-based weapons. Intelligence is going to be used for sorceries, which is one of the two kinds of magic in this game. Sorceries are going to be your wizard magic, standard spells. I can run through a few examples here. I have them right here. So they're going to be like a great magic missile or things of that sort. Mainly damage dealing spells that come in different forms. Next is Faith. Faith is your primary casting stat for incantations, which are the ones that I'm using here. It is important to note that all dragon breaths are incantations. Can you turn that down a little bit? Thank you. I appreciate it. And these, I like incantations better than sorceries because incantations have buffs. It has healing, unlike sorceries. Sorceries has no healing and rarely has buffs. Show a few examples here. So here's Great Heal. Here's increases damage, and then of course a lot of lightning and elemental based magics. There's poisons and there's fires, and again dragon breaths, which are extremely potent and very important in my opinion. So that's what Faith is for. The last stat is Arcane, which is going to be a mix of intelligence and faith. It will help scale any kind of magic. Oh, something I forgot. I believe that Mind will also increase your Discovery, which Discovery is going to be your ability to get loot drops. Most of the important items in this game are 100% drop rates from bosses and things like that, so you won't miss them. But things like the shield that I'm holding, the sword I'm wielding, they're just drops from random mobs around the world, and the higher your discovery, the higher the chance you will be able to pick these up quickly. It took me quite a while to get this shield because mine was so low for such a long time. In fact, it is still probably low. So with the stats out of the way, we can kind of talk about well, I guess we should talk about some of these other numbers here. Memory slots is going to be how many spells you can have in rotation at a time. I have 6. I have not selected my 6th spell slot right here. That means that anytime I want, I can cycle between 6 spells. I'm only keeping 5 though because I don't want to have to cycle through so many things. And you can get more memory slots by acquiring memory stones. So I picked up 4. I started with 2 spell slots, obviously that equals 6. I started as a casting class though, so I cannot speak to how many a pure melee or a non-caster class starts with. I believe it's also 2. They just don't start with any spells learned. Let's let's see. These numbers over here are also important to know. These are going to be the right-hand side here is going to be the damage mitigation percent. So 15% of physical is going to be negated by my armor. It's really hard to say what these are. These are dependent on armor as well, but I feel like the main numbers you're going to look at are over here. Attack power is obviously how hard you're hitting with certain weapons, and it will show you every single weapon. You can have 6 equipped at a time. I don't have 6 equipped, so I don't know why it's showing. Oh, that makes sense actually. 28 is actually going to be my bare hands, and this is going to be my shield, and this is going to be my finger seals, which is basically a spell focus. Let's go over equipment real quick. So you can have up to 6 things equipped at a time, 3 in your main hand, 3 in your offhand. It is important to note that if you have something equipped, even if you're not holding it out in your hand actively at a time, or that you never scroll to it, it will add to your equipment load. You want to keep your equipment load below 70% of your higher number here. So 50 out of 79 means that I'm at a medium load, which means that my roll is going to be faster and take less stamina, and my run will be faster and take less stamina. If I go above 70% here, it will change to a heavy load, and it will take more time for me to roll and more stamina for me to sprint. We'll get into why that's important later, but for now we can talk about arrow types. These do not add to your weight at all. I don't actually have any idea how to switch between 2 different types at a time, or the 2 different types you have equipped, but you can just switch them out by clicking on them. Armor, it will show you everything it does and adds and whatnot. The main thing to note is that if you look cool and you feel like you're negating enough damage and you're not in a heavy load, you're good, right? If a boss is going to hit you and do all of your health, having an extra 0.7 physical negation is not going to change that. So whatever you're comfortable with, whatever looks cool, that's kind of just what I'm going off of, and that's why I have this cool armor set on. Next are talismans. You start with 1 talisman slots. Every boss you kill gives you an extra, except not the last one that I killed. So Godric and Renala are the 2 that gave me an extra talisman slot. These you can pick up just randomly throughout the game. They all have different effects. You can start with the Crimson Amber Medallion if you chose that in your starting screen. I did not. You can buy this later. It's not very expensive, but they all have different effects, and depending on your build, they may be perfect for you. You can see that you get quite a few as you play, so something will fit your playstyle for sure. These are going to be, these 10 slots down here are kind of like your quick access to your inventory. Obviously you're going to have your healing and your mana potions, your Crimson Tears and your Cerulean Tears. Eventually, once you find the Flask of Wondrous Physic, you will want to equip this here. And again, equipping is just clicking on it and then choosing an item from your inventory. You'll want to equip your lantern here, and I have rune arcs as well, which are powerful items that you will unlock after killing the first boss. You'll pick them up, but you won't be able to use them to their full potency until you kill the first boss. So you can put anything here. If you click here, you can put things that increase immunity. You can put throwing knives, and even ashes can go here. We'll talk about ashes in a second as well. But this is just like your quick access to important items that mainly are consumables from your inventory. You also have access to your pouch, which you can access by holding E. I have mine set up, I think Emery changed it in settings, so that when I hold E, each one of these 4 things on the bottom left hand side is activated by holding E and then hitting 1, 2, 3, or 4. E2, for example, which is the bottom middle, is going to summon my horse. E4, which is the left-hand side, is going to summon my Spirit Ash. And again, we'll talk about what ashes are in a minute. And then I have just a magnifying glass and some throwing knives equipped there. It's just another quick access place to store some important things. And oh, the pouch that the quick access to your inventory pouch where you can equip 10 things. I cycled that by hitting the number 2, and I can go through all my flasks, my lantern, my rune arc. 3 is going to change your offhand. 4 is going to change your. Sorry, no. 3 is your main hand. 4 is your offhand. 1 is your spells. That's how you switch all of those things. To cast spells, you will need. For incantations, you need a finger seal of some kind, a sacred seal. And to cast sorceries, you will need a staff. And you can just buy these at a lot of vendors. You can pick them up off the ground. Don't worry about it too much. I think that's all the equipment that I have right here. When looking at things like shields, it is important to look at the guard damage negation over here on the right hand side. This shield right here has 100% physical damage negation. That means that anybody who's hitting me with a sword or a hammer that isn't magical, it's not going to do any damage as long as I'm blocking. The magic mitigation is going to be 55%, the fire is 59, lightning 39. So damage will come through if it's magic, fire, lightning, holy, but it will do percentage less based on what that number is there. So I would suggest getting a shield that has high physical. 100 is pretty practical. But there are some situations where you might want something that has more magic damage negation than physical, or switching those things around can be useful. Let's get some quality of life things out of the way. If you hit G, you will open your map, obviously. I'm underground right now, and I can only see graces that are underground. Graces are obviously these little points, and you can travel to any grace that you have unlocked by just hovering over it and hitting E. To view the overworld, I just hit Y, and it'll switch me to my other things, and I can just teleport them to them at any time. Once you unlock Round Table Hold, which will appear down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you can just hit F to bring up your sites of grace, R to go to Round Table Hold, and E to confirm. So there's a quick G, F, R, E to get to Round Table Hold, which is kind of the main hub, the main safe space for you. Let's see. With that covered, I think we can talk about Spirit Ashes. So I have this one equipped right now. You'll pick up the wolves when you pick up the Spirit Summoning Bell. Let's see if I can find it. I don't actually know where it is in the inventory. Anyway, you'll pick it up from Ronnie, the Night Witch. It will have to be nighttime, and she will appear at the first church that you walk up to. Here it is, the Spirit Calling Bell. So this, you don't actually use it itself, you just leave that in your inventory, but what you will use is the Spirit Ashes that you pick up throughout the game, these guys here. Again, there's many different types, practically any monster or enemy that you come across, and even some friends, you can summon as ashes at some point if you find the right ashes. So I have mine equipped to my pouch. Again, you can equip these to your quick rotation on your number 2, or whatever you feel most comfortable with. These are extremely helpful. They are extremely potent, especially later in the game, and they do bring a lot of utility to fights. Unfortunately, they are not available all the time. Oh, I can't actually show you unless I rest. So, to summon your Spirit Ashes, you have to have enough FP or mana, so it doesn't consume mana. And oh, this is not working. And you also have to be in a zone that allows spirit summoning. And you'll know that you're in a zone from the symbol on the left-hand side, which will appear shortly. Practically all boss fights are zones where you can do it, and harder areas that have high density packs of mobs, dungeons, sometimes allow them as well. As soon as I get off this bridge, I should have that symbol appear. Maybe not. It's not good. Well, if I can't shoot. Oh, there it is. So that archway, that little ghost archway on the left-hand side above the barricade shield import, that means that I can summon spirits, which, again, it's equipped to my pouch, so I'm going to hold E, and it's on my number 4. It takes a second to summon, but this is my friend. That's my ally. And she will do work. Important to note, you cannot open your map in combat, so you can't teleport out if you're in combat. You can mount up if you are in combat. Enemies with golden eyes, I showed up because I wasn't going to talk about that. Enemies with golden eyes have spawn randomly, and they drop significantly more runes, like 3 to 5 times the amount of runes as a regular mob of that type. And runes are obviously important because they are your currency, and they are also the way that you level up in this game. So yeah, make sure you pick up spirit ashes. Make sure you use your spirit ashes in the fights. They can be used to tank or do extra damage, or some even buff you. I'm gonna head to Roundtable Hold real quick. You can place markers on the map. You can place beacons, which will show in the overworld, and you can have a couple active at a time, but they will not be. You won't be able to differentiate from them. You can also place map markers, which are through R, and these can help, show where a boss that you didn't kill is, or a dungeon that you haven't explored yet, or some treasure that you can't get to and quite figure out, so that you can come back later. Landmarks will show up on your map, like the Dragonburn runes and churches. They'll show up even if you haven't acquired the map fragment. Map fragments are found at Stellas, which I don't think I have an undiscovered zone. So this is an undiscovered zone. I can still see the cave. And somewhere in here, it will show in this gray area a little pillar. And that pillar marks where the map fragment for that area is. I know the first map fragment that you will come across is in the Gatefront ruins. I can actually show you what it looks like. All the Stellas with the map fragments will look the same. And they will appear on your map if you're looking at them, if you've uncovered the fog enough. So right here on the left-hand side, this right here, has the first map fragment in it. These words will be glowing, and there will be an item glowing right there. Obviously, items are shown by a glow. More important items, rare and legendary items, will have a larger glow to them, and also have a slightly purple or golden hue instead of standard white. Some things to know: you can use flasks pretty liberally, because when you're killing enemies, if you kill enough of a type, you can get some of those charges back. Also, a white glow like that means that that enemy will drop an item. So you just gotta let their corpse fall over the ground and then you can go loot it. But that's a good way to keep track of who's dropping items. See that guy? No white lines sparking from him. Just golden ones. That one has white lines. That means he's dropping an item. And you'll know that you get flask charges back because it will make a particular sound, and some red and blue lines will be sucked into you. This right here is a glowing skull. These are important. You can run over them with your horse or hit them with anything and they will break open. They will always drop a golden rune. Golden runes are found in different potencies throughout the game, and they can give you the basic one. The golden one gives you 200 runes. The golden 2 gives you 400, and they scale all the way up to, I believe the hero's rune 4 is giving about 25,000. So it's important to grab those. I would suggest using those for closing the gap between levels. So right now I have a decent amount of runes, but I have 36,000, but it takes me 44,000. I want to go exploring, but I don't want to lose these runes. So I'm going to use some of the golden runes from my inventory to make up this difference and get one level. You can sell golden runes to any vendor and it will give you their full value, or you can just go into your inventory, click on them, and I use select number. You can choose how many you use at a time, and then just say yes, and you'll just get those runes. I know that wasn't enough, but that's fine. Sites of Grace sometimes have a little streak of light coming from them. It kind of shows the main areas that you'll want to start moving through. So the first ones point you up to the gate front, and then up to the castle, which is where you fight Margit, and then Godric the Grafted, who is the first rune, or the first shard bearer. Some of them also just point